Hello and welcome to the very first Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we're just going to be doing this weekly, hopefully move into 2-3 times a week or so, talking about movies, video games, anything new, and then as well as our animations and videos and whatever projects we're working on.
If you came across this, chances are you typed in Dark Knight Rises and this popped up. If you found out about another way, chances are our online series, Drunk Batman and Robin, which we're going to be trying to do at least once a month. But for once a week, we're going to try, like Spencer said, try and get some podcasts done. Today's topic, Dark Knight Rises.
It seems fitting because if we are Drunk Batman and Robin, why not talk about the real Batman?
Yes, very much so. Anyway, you want to go first on this one?
Well, I like this movie, don't get me wrong. It was fucking awesome. I spent my entire last 2 years, my life was based around this moment. Almost, like, when it's over, I didn't know what to do, but then I was like, oh, never mind, there's Expendables 2 and Superman. I got something to live for.
Don't forget Django Unchained.
Oh, yeah. So there's stuff out there, but everything was coming up to this point, and I fucking couldn't wait.
I'm kind of right with you there. I was... Usually, people really want to see the midnight release of something. I want to see this movie so badly, I didn't want to see it the midnight release. Because right next to our movie theater, there's an Applebee's, which means a bunch of asshole frat boys come walking in, like last minute, hey dude, I'm fucked up. I got a couple hours to kill before I drive. You know, I gotta sober up and shit. So.
And look, I got $10.50 in my pocket.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's go watch, like, you know, Dark Knight, whatever. Fuck it, you know. So I didn't want to have to put up with any of that. Last couple I went to, just bitches texting half the time. So, fuck that. Went to it the first showing, and go in the clear mind. That's how much we love it.
We chose the time with all the old people, and thank Christ they didn't talk.
Well, actually, you kind of lucked out. I didn't really luck out as well on that one. Of every seat in the theater, I got the one with the one tweaker. I got the seat in front of me with the one tweaker. The guy looked like a fucking walking vibrator. He would walk in, he would be bobbing his head around, and every 10 minutes he'd get up and leave. He'd be gone for like 15 minutes, then he'd come back. The whole time his head be bobbing, leaning on his girlfriend. At one point, he tried to, I swear to God, he put his girlfriend's hand in his lap, like he was trying to get her to jerk her off in the middle of Batman. It was during a very emotional scene in the movie.
No, I would have jerked off during Batman. I thought I had a raging boner the whole time.
Yeah, for Batman, that's about it.
Batman, not Selena Kyle.
Yeah. It's clean. Kyle's close, you know. Just
nothing
gay about it.
It's Batman. It's fucking Batman.
It's Batman.
Well, I will have to say, when it was done, I thought it was good. I don't want to be the guy who says, like, well, if I made Batman, I'd do it differently.
But you're going to be that guy.
But I'm going to slightly be that guy. I don't know.
I am too. It's okay.
I saw Batman Begins when it came out, and I was like, this is so awesome. Why is there only 4 other people in the theater? It's opening day. And I thought that movie was fantastic. I didn't expect it. It was just like, a Batman movie's out. I'm going to go see it. I started off Batman with the animated series, you know, in the 90s, and that I grew up with that. I watched the Adam West one on reruns, of course. And so when I saw that Batman Begins, I was like, that was like the comics. That was cool. That was serious. It was realistic, but it wasn't to the point of realistic where, like, they tried to do X-Men where, like, everybody looks the same. You didn't feel like... I mean, it's superheroes, but you still saw it's like the Batman costume. I mean, the Batmobile was different, but it still, you know, it had the gadgets. It had everything Batman
It was a different take, yet even though it was a different take and it was a little bit more realistic, surprisingly, it was actually probably more accurate than any of the previous movies.
Oh, yeah, by far. And then secondly, I mean, it was cool because it had, like, you know, villains that if you watched the show or you read the comics, you knew. I mean,
Ra's al Ghul. Well, the other thing about it, I mean, they changed
Scarecrow.
Yeah, Scarecrow. But the thing about Begins is they even use villains. I mean, when I watched the movie, because I didn't really read Batman comics at the time. I was really much into Batman. That movie actually helped me kind of get into comics, truth be told. But I always was a huge Batman fan. I always watched the cartoon. I always, you know, Batman was always my favorite cartoon as a kid. But after watching that movie, I started reading the comics. I'm like, Detective Flash is a real character from year one. Carmine Falcone is a real character. You know, so Mr. Zsasz, the amount of things that got in that one. And that's kind of what made that one and Dark Knight so good, is how accurate it was, and yet how accurate it was, and yet they managed to keep it realistic, so anybody can watch it.
So yeah, then Dark Knight came out, and that, even though I like Batman Begins more, that just felt like it was the next step forward.
I'm kind of like on even par with them. I think one does things better than the other does.
In this one, I mean, they made Joker and Two Face. I mean, they kind of went. I mean, it was a brand new take on it, but the second you saw him, you knew exactly who that was. You knew that like that felt like Joker. They didn't try to like kind of hide it, call him a different name or anything like that. You knew exactly who they were talking about.
Yeah, totally. And as far as like, I think actually Aaron Eckhart kind of got the shaft there because everyone's always wanting that movie talk about Joker. No one really gave a shit about Two Face.
Oh, and they did such a good job on Two Face. When you saw him, it was like that looks fucking. It looks
Well,
like a Grindhouse movie.
Well, yeah. The thing with like, I mean, no offense, Tommy Lee Jones. I love Tommy Lee Jones, but he was really just kind of like playing Tommy Lee Jones with like, not even his Two Face. I don't know what the fuck that was.
It wasn't even Tommy. If he just played Tommy Lee Jones, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones by himself would just say, "Tommy, walk in, play yourself." I think that would have been a better Two Face than what he tried. But Aaron Eckhart, it was awesome, and that's the thing is I love that. The only thing I complain about in that movie is I just think that I wish Katie Holmes would have done it. I don't know. Not
think
like
you blame the
Meg was a bad
Scientology
actor, but I don't know. It just
You get used to something.
I don't know. You get used to something. I mean, like you got to put up with whatever you get. But
So then we come to Dark Knight Rises, which first off, it's gonna sound like people are gonna like, you're not a Batman fan. What the fuck are you doing? No, first off, I am a Batman fan. I fucking wore a 3-layer black suit for a live-action drunk Batman movie during 90-degree weather. So I am a Batman fan. So fuck off. Now, that's if you're talking shit. If you're not talking shit, don't worry about that. Anyway, this movie though, even though I still really enjoyed it, it's unfortunately probably the weakest of the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Unfortunately, it's still a good movie, still enjoyable. If you're a Batman fan, you will like it. But I think if you're a Batman fan, you will like it a little less than the previous two.
it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's really awesome. In the beginning, I thought was fantastic. About the first 1/3 of the movie, I was like, "This is so cool!" Like I was just so psyched into it. And then as it progresses on, it's like it does something where it's like, after Dark Knight, it was just kind of like, Batman's so acceptable at this point. We don't have to even hide that it's a Batman movie. We can just say it's a Batman movie.
Yet they were trying to kind of. There were moments it felt like they were hiding it because the thing about this movie, chances are you got a general idea of the plot because they've been showing the trailers and commercials fucking everywhere. But the thing about it is, it's more about Batman falling then rising up for his final battle, but out of that, even though Batman's in it, it's more about Bruce Wayne, and he's only really in the Batman outfit probably roughly about I'm not going to spoil it, but probably about, I guess, really 3 major scenes of the film.
Yeah, probably something like that.
3, maybe 4, like they're major scenes. I'm talking like, and keep in mind those scenes are like,
those scenes are long.
They're long scenes, but there's those moments. There's roughly the movie opens up. Gotham City is at peace. Given the lie Batman and Gary Oldman, Commissioner Gordon, have set up for the last 8 years. Everything's been going fine up until Bane shows up. Bane starts to come and he starts to fuck shit up. So that's what he does. He's a terrorist.
He's a terrorist. And one thing is just like, I don't know, these are these small things. Like, I don't like to play and be like, well, if I made me, but
you can't
Bane's voice in that movie is, I don't know, like, they give him like the 1940s like Batman villain voice, not
mixed in with Sean Connery.
Yeah, mixed up a little bit of Sean Connery, a little bit of Darth Vader, and they got him as far away as being Cuban, Mexican, whatever you want to be, as possible. So and
they left that out.
And then another thing is like, it's like I know Christopher Nolan's always going for this kind of like cool, let's make it feel like it's totally real, but. Always there's a little bit of the venom in there.
I couldn't.
I mean,
the venom.
Or he could be just like shooting it up like steroids.
Yeah.
Even I don't really mind. Like
people
have a scene where he's working out and he's like pumping up.
Yeah, for as fucking buff as he was, you didn't see him lift one weight the whole movie. And granted, he lifted Batman and he broke his fucking back, but he didn't really. Aside from that, you never saw him lift a weight or nothing.
No, you see Batman lifting more weights and push-ups and pull-ups, but
no, but yeah, for those of you who don't read the comics, Bane was a character. I think the whole theme of the character originally because. He's a character that was born and raised in a prison. He took this highly addictive steroid called Venom, and it just made him into just this giant hulking monster. Now, they first presented Bane to the movie screen in Batman and Robin, which they
present him as like a little child.
They present him like a midget. They took the serum, then turned into like just a brain dead retard. Which that's not Bane whatsoever. He's actually a tactical genius, which he is in this film.
They got the costume kind of cool in that one.
The costume. I thought the costume did a better job of the costume
I
in
mean, they
this
could do a
one.
better job.
But the thing with it was mainly is just his voice, just because he wants to go take it more seriously, to more realistic. But I can't really take the voice seriously moments because like, I think kind of what happened is Christian Bale is like, listen, if you want to do this movie, give me someone with a fucking weirder voice than me.
No, yeah, the voice. I mean, like the first whole time, it's like I mean, he's got this mask on the whole time.
Do something that's gonna take their mind off the Bat voice.
I mean, you can really dub in any voice you want. His mouth doesn't move at all throughout the entire movie. I mean, it probably was all dubbed in afterwards. I can't imagine him actually recording anywhere like that. But yeah, the voice was it's strange, you know. I mean, the first time I ever heard Bane's voice in the comic or in the cartoon, I was kind of thrown off too because I just saw him in the comic and I was like, oh. And then you picture it, I was like, oh, I didn't know that's what his voice was gonna sound like. But then you hear it in here, it's like, oh, it's even different. And it's a white guy.
Tom Hardy. Good, he did a good job, really. I mean, just with his facial expressions, and he actually looks the part pretty good.
No, Tom Hardy's awesome. You know.
Just the voice they chose in that for the mask and all that was just a little off-putting. When the first scene, later you get more used to it. When you first see him, you're like, oh shit, it's Bane. And he's all like, let me tell you something. What the fuck was that? You know?
I know. It took me a long time. And then after a while, you kind of like, okay, I'm gonna accept it by this point. It's been 2.5 hours. There's 10 minutes left. I'm gonna accept it by this point.
By that point, no point sooner. No, but anyway, like Anne Hathaway plays Catwoman. She does a pretty good job. It's more of a throwback to the 1960s Catwoman, the 1960s TV show Catwoman. Adam West Batman. The way the outfit looks, a lot more of the hair flowing. I was expecting it to be at first to be when I first heard she was going to be in it. I imagine it being more how she looks in the 90s comics generally. I'm not going to down it for that, but she came out with the whole retro flair, which is kind of cool.
No, it was kind of cool. I do kind of feel like when she just has the little teeny mask, though, I just don't know how people in Gotham can, you know, how do you not know that's Selena Kyle when you look at her? It's like, well, wait, we've got the same color hair, same style practically, you know.
That can't be Selena Kyle. She doesn't have that weird little mask on. No.
But other than that, I don't know. She did a fantastic job. I really like that. It was cool. They did the Catwoman thing like, well, you know, they had like it as a sort of a love interest. Actually,
anti-hero thing.
She works with Batman. She doesn't work with Batman.
They even had like what's her name? Holly Robinson in there. That's her in the comic book. She was a teenage hooker. In this, she's just her teenage friend. That's kind of a thief, but.
Well, yeah, she's always in. That's cool too. I like how they put her in here because you know she's in like the cartoon show and everything.
Well, I think not now because they have the new 52 going now. But at one point she took the role of Catwoman.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah, but cool. I don't think that happened now because they restarted it. But back to the main point. What was I gonna say? Well, this film, it also has the biggest complaint I have about this film generally. I mean, it just sounds like we're looking for things to bitch about. Truth is, I did really like this movie.
I love the movie. It was so good. I would go see it again, like the next showing right after the one I just saw. I'm gonna go see it again anyway. I'll probably see it a third time maybe.
The only real problem about it is, well, this is more a problem as a Batman fan. We're gonna have two different kind of problems. Problems with the movie itself and problems as a Batman fan. As a Batman fan, I felt like there could have been usage of more villains. And I'm not talking about, oh, you got to throw in Penguin, you got to throw in the Riddler. I'm not saying all that. I'm saying because this movie just has a lot of blank slate characters. Characters that are not really there in the comics. They're more or less just there to help the story move along. Bane, he's surrounded by... Bane's coming back... picking up where Ra's al Ghul left off from Batman Begins. He's fulfilling what he always planned, which is to destroy Gotham. So, naturally, League of Shadows is back in, or League of Assassins if you read the comic books. They're coming back in, and so, naturally, as a Batman fan, you're thinking, okay, are they going to throw in Merlin? Are they going to throw in David Kane? I think his name's David Kane. But they don't really do any of that. They just kind of have... There's one villain they try and surprise you with. And if you've been keeping up on the movie, you can probably figure out who that one villain is. I'm not going to say it. There's one villain in there. I'm not completely sure. I think Deadshot may have been in the movie.
They had a guy who resembled Deadshot, even though he got his ass handed to him every single time he came in a scene.
Which is reason to believe it's Deadshot. But, no, because he had the facial hair of Deadshot, because Deadshot usually wears a helmet and dresses in red. He's a whole gun expert, as the name implies. But the movie, he had facial hair. They kind of focused on him a lot whenever there was a scene going on. If there was like a lot of action going on, he was usually shooting. He was taking people out left and right. Before he got punched in the face by Batman or Catwoman or somebody, which that happens a lot with Deadshot. It's the reason to believe. They never said his name Deadshot, and his name Deadshot or what's his name, Floyd Wilson, something like that, was never in the credits. So it may have been Deadshot, may have not. I think maybe a producer thing, just fucking put Mercenary #2 because no one's gonna know who Deadshot is if you must read it. But aside from that, though, so Deadshot may have been in the movie. I'm not sure. So beyond that, though, I'm high off Batman. You know.
Oh, you gotta like Batman. Yeah, so that's what they kind of were doing. Like they showed some character, kind of like you're like, oh, it's gotta be Deadshot. You're like, they're gonna mention Deadshot. They're gonna mention Deadshot, and then they.
Which how many people look forward to Deadshot? But really, that's
No,
cool.
I don't. Well,
I like Deadshot.
Okay, I was looking forward to Deadshot since Batman Begins, so I was just like, he'll be easy to plug in. He's a plug-in character. You got to roll, you plug him in. But they didn't kind of do that. But it's like,
yeah, there's a lot of like terrorist insurgent characters there, and they seem like easy characters that it just seemed like an easy spot to plug in. Not like huge characters, but characters like if you're a fan of the comic, like oh shit, that's Merlin, that's the Archer guy. Oh, there's Lady Shiva, she's pretty badass, you know. That's what Batman Begins had. Batman Begins had, oh, they got Detective Flash in it. Granted, you know, I didn't know that at the time because I didn't read year one. But the fact they got all these characters in there, these characters you have to read the comics to know about. And seeing that, it just seemed kind of like they were backtracking and kind of skimping on the villains. Especially Bane. Did a great job with Bane. I do like Bane, but he's not one of the first Batman villains that pops to mind when you want to see a Batman movie.
You know, speaking of this, since you mentioned Archer, this kind of reminds me. Did you think when they first introduced Bruce Wayne in the movie, like
the
did
Green
they give you
Arrow
like a Green Arrow
thing?
look? He had like the mustache, the little goatee, and he was shooting a bow and arrow for crying out loud.
He was, yeah. There's an opening scene, not the opening scene, but close to the opening scene of the movie. They show
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. They show Bruce just up in his room. He's kind of like cordoned off, like no one's allowed in this part of the house. You see like sheets over everything. There's a whole room just of shit just cluttered to the side, and just an archery range of him just shooting a bow and arrow. At the time, he has a goatee and a beard going, like Spencer said.
It reminded me a little bit of a Green Arrow thing, you know.
I know this had some Dark Knight Returns like influence to it, so I was like, is Green Arrow going to be in it? Is he going to have like one arm? But no.
You know, that would be a cool movie. I would see the Green Arrow Batman movie.
Green Arrow Batman movie?
You know, Green Arrow would confuse like the regular audience.
Are we watching the Robin Hood?
Yeah,
What's
they think
going with the Batman?
Batman's teaming up with Robin Hood, and you know.
I thought Robin Hood was a fucking fox. Yeah.
So yeah, but I don't care. I still think Green Arrow. I think Green Arrow could have his own movie.
He could. He's getting his own show on the CW, but they're just calling it Arrow, not Green Arrow, because I guess you know
the C. I don't know what it is like. It's you know the CW that like they did have Superman when they originally had Smallville. They're like, don't put him in the fucking costume. Whatever you do, don't put him in the fucking costume.
To the last episode.
Yeah, like we're gonna call it small, but we're gonna like lead you into this. Like they didn't really want to do that. They're just like, let's be as far away from Superman as possible. But this is a Superman show.
It eventually leads into Superman. We'll get back to Dark Knight Rises. It eventually leads into Superman as the show progresses. But after Dark Knight Rises...
of Superman really quickly, though, they show the teaser trailer to the new Superman for next year.
There's going to be a bunch of nerds bitching, saying, oh my god, it looks like they're copying Batman Begins, and Zack Snyder, he's... an abortion of cinema! It's like,
see, I love Zack Snyder. The only thing I don't like of Zack Snyder is the Dawn of the Dead, and that's funny because most people are like, that's one of the best horror movies ever. I'm like, nah, I didn't like that one. And it's not Zack Snyder's fault. It's the writer's fault. Zack Snyder, he did all he can. It looks visually awesome. It's just the characters are done bad. And I don't care. I don't care what people say. Watchmen was one of the best movies I ever saw. And when I saw the trailer for it, I thought it looked stupid. But the second I watched it, I was like, no, that's fucking awesome.
Watchmen is pretty badass.
They did it so cool. So I don't care. Zack Snyder, he does Superman, I'm there. And that trailer, even though it was, you know, it was short, it just mostly showed a lot of young, you know, like 8-year-old Clark Kent with like a towel around his like.
Showed him on a fishing boat.
Yeah, showed him on a fishing boat. But then the very last scene is Superman flying up through sky to space. It was mainly God knows where.
It was mainly Russell Crowe's voiceover with the music, which I think ultimately helped it.
And then there was the nice spinning S. It looked cool. I don't care. You're
getting hard just thinking about it.
That trailer, it wasn't much, but it was all I needed.
It was a cock tease, is what it was. But no, so all the actors in this film generally did a pretty good job. Michael Caine is Alfred.
Oh, Michael Caine, he did fantastic.
He wasn't in the movie very much, but the scenes he was in, oh my god, they were... I'm not going to lie, there's a scene near the end of the movie that involves Alfred. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I'm not someone who like cries during movies, and I didn't cry during this, but it's probably the closest thing I've come to crying in a movie in a long-ass time.
It's a tearful moment.
Very tearful moment. I think this does put a period to Chris Nolan's Batman trilogy. So because a lot of people are going to think, oh, they're going to pick up another one with the way it ends. think it's safe to say they're just going to reboot it. I'm not going to say how it ends exactly, but yeah, it was a good ending.
No, it had a good ending, but yeah, it has that kind of ending where you're like, maybe Christopher Nolan's probably not going to make another movie, but you could see where
A
Warner Brothers
possible
might
spin-off
be
of
like,
another
hey,
character. A spin-off of another character.
let's make another one off this and continue this because we like cash cows.
Yeah. His name starts in N. Yeah, I can probably edit that part out. Anyway, but another person in this movie did a good job was I got kind of mixed feelings about this character, which was John Blake. That's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. He's a very likable. He's a Gotham City cop. Very likable character. Very smart character. There's no real flaws in this character. It's just one of those things. He's kind of Batman's sidekick. This is somebody that could have possibly you could have possibly put an
this is what they
existing
did.
character.
They give you Robin. They mix. It's kind of cool. They mix Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, and Jason Todd all into one. They take little bits and pieces from all their stories and put them together. But it's like one of those ones like, it's like
you understand.
You almost want like for like the last scene, the very fight, just like put the Robin suit on. Put the Robin suit on.
You don't even gotta go with Robin. You go with Nightwing.
Put the Nightwing
He's
suit.
He's a full-grown man. He can throw on. He can like you just have something like, I got a spare suit. Want to be Batboy? Fuck that. I'm Nightwing, bitch.
You know what's one thing I was speaking of like that. Because in Batman Begins, they kind of show like the young Barbara Gordon, sort of.
They show.
Or is that Dark Knight? No, in Dark Knight they show young Barbara Gordon. I always kind of thought like would have been a cool thing is since she was shown there, if they would have brought her in this one, because her father's in the hospital. She realizes that Batman's not here, so she's gonna take her turn at fighting crime.
It is 8 years later, so she could
be like 16 years old.
Yeah.
I thought that might be kind of cool. I don't know if anybody else knows. Those are like those things I noticed, kind of like when you see Beast in X-Men 2 and the background on the TV screen in the bar, like you're like, oh, dude, Beast is in there, and then like nobody else notices it. It says Hank McCoy. You tell it to other people, they think you're a fucking nerd. But still, I don't know. Like I felt like the Barbara Gordon was there. She could have been Batgirl.
She could have been.
It didn't have to be like a big thing. It could have been just a small thing because they had this huge battle scene at the end. Just cops versus Bane and thugs and all kinds of stuff. And you got Catwoman in there, and you got Batman.
You got the closest, most realistic thing you'll have to a Batcopter, the Batwing.
Yeah, you got all this cool stuff. It's just like almost at that point, it's just like you should just be throwing tons of characters in there,
Well, that's the thing. Well, this one of the main stories this is based off of is Nightfall, which in that story, Bane breaks Batman's back. Spoilers, and he ends up unleashing. Actually, it doesn't go in that order, but he ends up unleashing Arkham Asylum and Blackgate, and just every criminal that Batman's ever fought just about is in that story. Now, I'm not saying you got to be throwing Joker back in, obviously, or all these other characters like Penguin or Riddler or anyone like that.
You can go with the smaller characters. I think Croc could have fit in there. I mean, there was a line in that movie.
They imply Killer Croc in a line, but they never really come back to it.
So I mean,
we're not spoiling nothing. There's a line where they imply Killer Croc, but they never really come back to that line. The thing with Killer Croc is a lot of people say, oh, it's way over the top. I think you could do Killer Croc all right. I think that you can tone him down. Like in the book Joker, they portray him as like an angry black thug guy with a lot of just like a weird skin condition and sharp teeth. I think that could have worked with him.
Well, the way they did in the animated series, I always thought worked. Because, really, in that one, he's just a man. He looks like he's got a skin condition, he's big, and he's got sharp teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, tone that back a couple notches, and I think he'd work perfect for the Batman one.
Yeah.
And he's a simple character. You don't need this huge build-up. He can just be the grunt of the movie. He can throw rocks like he always wants to throw rocks.
I think the one thing people probably got a backlash at, he had that huge rivalry with Bane, so now...
Well, that would have been perfect in it. You could have that where it's kind of like he's working for him at first, and then he hates him, so maybe he's fighting him, but he's not really fighting Batman. He's just kind of being a dick and destroying shit for no good reason.
Just throwing rocks at him. It's a special
Throw rocks at him like he always wants to do. Their favorite fucking thing to do.
If you go like on BC Encyclopedia, special attributes, throwing rocks and shit. Now, strictly in the sense of a movie, that's just kind of like nerd rambling right there. That's if you're a Batman fan, what kind of bothers you with it? If you're actually now strictly in the sense of a fan of what this movie got kind of wrong, not a fan, in the sense of just being a movie goer, what I think this movie got a little wrong was the beginning of the movie. I'm not really spoiling much here. You can probably tell from the trailer. Batman
assuming you've probably seen this movie. I mean,
chances
everybody's
are,
gonna see this movie at this point. This is just more rambling on it because
yeah,
we love Batman.
who doesn't love Batman? If you don't love Batman, you don't know shit about Batman.
Oh, I bet you everybody will love Batman because this movie will make way more money than the Avengers. Don't get me wrong, the Avengers was good, but this is Batman.
I'll be honest with you. I hope this movie makes more of the Avengers. I liked Avengers. I don't know if it's gonna make as much money as Avengers. I hope it does. I hope it makes more money than the Avengers, but I don't think it will. Just
I don't
because.
know.
Well, this is a lot more of like this is almost kind of like to a certain degree kind of like an art house Batman. There's actually more of there are moments there's more of a drama than an actual action.
Well, yeah,
movie.
it's not like the like
very
it's
bleak.
not kind of the campy action romp that the Avengers sort of is. It's more, obviously.
You're gonna get so many fucking. You're gonna get so many like Joss Whedon fans, like some brown coats coming after you.
I am a Joss Whedon fan, and I'm gonna say the Avengers is an action comedy. I don't care what people say. If you did not notice that, it's like every third line in that movie is a joke. But I don't care.
Yeah.
Batman, I think Batman will be able to pull it off. I was pretty proud with the 11-10 showing to see how many people were in it.
Yeah. But regardless of how much money it makes, which this movie's going to be set regardless, I think the only real problem with this movie is it opens up, maybe for those of you who haven't seen it, it opens up with Bruce being secluded and away from everybody, and he decides he wants to get back into the game. Now, so we have this whole rise. It's kind of surprising. It's kind of cool how quickly he actually gets back into the bat suit. Like, oh, awesome. It doesn't take this ridiculously long build-up for him to start doing what we all want him to see him do. But the problem is, once he goes against Bane, and this is a big part of the story, Bane breaks his back, enabling him to fight.
So now we got about a half an hour to 45 minutes, not maybe more, where he's not in the costume.
Yeah, and so for a while we're just getting kind of a lot of imagery of just in plot lines of just Gotham City without Batman. And we've already kind of a sense of that earlier on in the movie. So twice in this movie we got the scene. Okay, he's getting back in the game. Oh fuck, he's out of the game already, and he's got to get back in the game again. So that's the problem that I have with the movie. That's time because Gotham is another plot line. This is based off. I never read this book, but I know of it. No Man's Land, and that's where Gotham City is secluded from the rest of the world, and they got a nuclear bomb they're threatening to set off if anybody comes near Gotham City or if anybody leaves Gotham City. It has a real 99% kind of vibe going for it.
You know what I was thinking of is, when they show the football teams, they got the Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
And then they got the other team, and it's got the little cowboy guy. Did you think that looked like
Vigilante?
That's what I was thinking
that
too.
Vigilante from DC Comics.
These small things that stick in my mind. Even though, what would have been cool? I know this would have thrown people off to be like, oh my god, it's a Superman Batman movie. But like, what if it was like the Gotham Knights versus
the Metropolis Knights?
Superman. I don't know what you would call it, but that's what I was kind of wondering.
The Brainiacs. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Where most people would be like, oh my god, that means that Superman exists in this world.
Yeah.
But
they implied it for a second. Superman Returns. They're like, no, we're not doing. We're ignoring that movie.
I don't know. They'll make the Batman Superman movie at some point.
If not that, at least the Justice League movie.
Yeah, the Justice League movie would be cool.
But anyway, so the downfall of the movie is not so much the downfall, because it ends up being a good movie. Is just the middle point roughly is there's just kind of like this Batman movie with no Batman costume. He's just kind of just trying to get back in shape, trying to overcome. And the scene he does overcome, it's a really great scene. It actually kind of gets the adrenaline pumping and get into it. But for a while, you're just kind of like, come on, man, throw on the suit.
Well, not that it's all bad. The pacing is so good for the first third of the movie. The pacing is like fantastic. That first third of the movie, I mean, it was just like, I was like, this is so amazing. Man, it was going to be amazing. But this is so amazing. It's just like, and then it slows down a bit. I mean, you know that, but not like it's bad. It's still good. It's got good drama in it and stuff. But you kind of like, it's like, Batman Begins was kind of the movie where it's like, almost half that movie, or the first hour, is Batman without the suit. By this point, I kind of want to see Batman almost, doesn't make the suit like the whole time, but I want to see him
a good portion of the time. Dark Knight.
That's what we came to see. We came to see him in the suit.
Dark Knight, he was in the suit not most of it, but a good portion of it.
Yeah.
At least half that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and this at the same time, it uses villains that you don't really, because the way they present Bane really realistically, which isn't a problem. But it almost like it kind of takes you out. For a second, you just kind of think like, is this really? You kind of forget you're watching a Batman movie in parts of the movie because
the opening scene's really cool with Bane. It's like a 007 opening. It's
it's
really
very much
it,
double. Because
it
if
is
you
very
exclude it, you get like
007.
the I'm Bane.
Yes, because I'm Bane, and I'm the 1940s villain here to help destroy Gotham in my terrorist act.
I showed my cock in Bronson. They painted me black in that movie for some reason, and later I was a reception. Oh, yeah. He actually talks a little better than that, but I'm not far off.
If you watch Bronson, it's like the prequel to this almost.
Actually, it is the prequel.
It's like English Bane, really.
It really is the English Bane when you think about it, because he's locked in jail. He's not
locked
born
in
in
prison
jail.
the whole time.
He's
angry.
He's angry.
He's big and strong.
Only Bronson never killed anybody.
And they like to show his penis in the movie a lot. And
which they never showed Bane's cock, which I'm actually kind of glad, you know. Enough about Bane and his cock.
I don't think we talked enough about Bane. But the whole point is this movie's actually really awesome. Don't get me wrong. It is way cool. So far this year, I can't think of a movie that was better than it.
Probably best movie I've seen all year, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, actually, the only really other good movies I really remember were superhero-like movies, as in Spider-Man and Avengers. But it's way better than those ones. Those ones are good, not as good as Batman, though. So it's totally worth seeing. You'll probably want to see it twice.
I'll be honest. This is probably gonna get some people pissed off at me. Strictly in the sense of a movie, I would give this movie a 3.5 out of 4. Strictly in the sense of just a movie and moviegoer, 3.5 out of 4. But if you are a hardcore Batman fan, maybe just a 3, just because there are certain moments, because he doesn't wear the suit that much in the movie. Granted, when he's in the suit, it's fucking sick. Nothing wrong, nothing to complain about. But there's a good portion of that movie he's not in the suit, and there's a lack of characters that you recognize, and as a Batman fan, you just can't help but think, these blank slate characters, they're just kind of there to move the story along. Those are characters from you could have just thrown a name into them, like, oh, okay, that's like maybe Leslie Thompson, that's Harvey Bullock, But no, they just, that's my only real complaint. And that's not so much as a moviegoer, that's just as a Batman fan. So if you never read a Batman comic in your life, you're probably going to love the movie.
If your life's been based off Batman Begins and Dark Knight, you're going to think this movie is just awesome. You probably think it's almost as good.
It is awesome.
As probably if you just didn't know your Batman history super well, you'd probably think it's just as good as the first two. It's pretty much about just as good. I mean,
it's just the thing as a Batman fan.
It's the minor things.
It's the minor things. As a Batman fan, you just kind of want as much Batman there was in the first two. Because Begins and Dark Knight had so much Batman stuff in it, and this one has a lot, but just not as much. So you feel a little, I guess, maybe too harsh a word, but cheating. Anyway, yeah, that's my review. That's all I really got to say about it.
So I think it's a good place to end it at, and we'll have another podcast for you next week. So the two of you out there, if you tell 2 people, well, hopefully it'll spread better.
Spread like an STD.
Yeah, that'd be nice, and we'll keep it going. We'll have new topics, all kinds of stuff.
It's not strictly to movies. It could go to music, could go to comics, video games,
whatever came up, whatever spiked our interest that week, we'll have some fun with. And we have a new Drunk Batman and Robin episode coming out, another animated one for our new animated series. They're going to be all continual.
Go check that shit out. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. It'll be out there next week. So, cool.
All right. Well, I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Spencer Scott Holmes. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Good night.